So welcome everybody to our February 26, 2020 Lunch and Learn webcast, Better Decision Making with Sage 300 Business Intelligence Reporting Tools. So I'm Will Booth from DNA Business Management Solutions, and today we're going to go through a presentation basically comparing a couple of the intelligence tools that are available for Sage 300 from Sage. One is Sage Intelligence, and mainly we're going to focus on Sage Enterprise Intelligence because we've done other Sage Intelligence sessions before and a lot of people are familiar with it. And I'm lucky enough to have Jasdeep Singh Bogal on the line from Sage Enterprise Intelligence at Tangerine Software. Tangerine is based in Montreal, and they're the creator and support people that we use when we're doing Sage Enterprise Intelligence. So Tangerine and Sage got together many years ago. Tangerine is a Sage partner as well as a development partner, and they built a great reporting tool. And there's differences than the standard Sage Intelligence, which people may be using or familiar with, that works inside Excel. The Sage Enterprise Intelligence can feed Excel, but it's kind of a different paradigm, and that's kind of why we wanted to go through the differences between the two today. So as I said, we're recording this session. We'll be sending it out after. I've put everybody on mute, so please put any questions in the chat for Jasdeep and I, and we'll try our best to answer them, and we'll also send out some information after the event. So I just wanted to Jasdeep has a diverse background, correct, Jasdeep? You were an industrial designer, is that correct?
Or industrial
engineer?
Right.
And then about 5 or more years ago, you got involved in more the technology side and now into helping people mine their data out of their accounting and ERP systems and make that data useful, correct?
That's correct.
Anything else you'd like to say about yourself?
Well, my name is Jasdeep. Thank you so much for the quick introduction, Will. And yes, like Will mentioned, I'm an industrial engineer by my graduation, and then been more inclined towards the services side and client relationship side of it. And then almost a year ago, I joined Tangerine Software. And then since then, I've been working with them as a pre-sales consultant and engineer, and helping clients find their best solution for their reporting needs.
All right. Well, I'm Will Booth. If you don't know me, I'm one of the sales people along with Michelle or Mike Semia here at DNA. And so we like to set up these sessions to just give people kind of an idea of what's available. And we've had a lot of requests for this. So that's why we put it on today. There's more information always available, and we leverage Jasdeep and the team at Tangerine to help us with our Sage Enterprise Intelligence on the, the pre-sales side, determine your requirements and doing demonstrations, but also on the delivery side. So it's we work with them very closely, and it's great to have them on the phone. So if you're ready, Jasdeep, I'll make you the presenter, and you can share your screen. Is that okay?
Sure, please go ahead.
Okay, here we go.
Thank you. And please let me know if you can see my screen, Will.
I see your screen. Looks great.
Perfect. All right. So welcome everyone to this webinar, and I will be walking you through the Sage Enterprise Intelligence version 9, which is the latest version we have come up with. And
I'll just let people know, Jasdeep, there is depending on how the window's working on everybody's screen, there's a little 3-bar hamburger. You can drag that up and make your presentation bigger if it's not already going full screen, just for the people on the phone.
All right.
But I see it fine.
Perfect. All right. So like I was saying, I will be walking you through the Sage Enterprise Intelligence, the latest version 9. And we'll be, of course, focusing on Sage 300 Cloud today. And just to begin the presentation, I would like to show you the main login page for Sage Enterprise Intelligence, which comes in multiple languages depending on the user base we have, and also available and accessible through multiple browsers. So right now, for example, I'm opening Google Chrome, but then this is also accessible through multiple browsers which support HTML5. So I will go ahead and log in into the application as an admin. And that being said, each SCI user gets a unique username and password, and different security settings can be configured as per the user login, which helps in protecting the data and making sure the right people have the access to the information as they log in into the application. So as I'm logging in as an admin, I will have the access to all the different features, reports, and graphs I would like to show you today. And let's get into it. So right now I've just let it into the main landing page of Sage Enterprise Intelligence, and it's a version 9 turned all blue, as some of you who might have seen this version 8 before, you can easily spot the differences. But then yes, this is the latest version for Sage Enterprise Intelligence. On the left-hand side of the screen, we have the Command Center, which comes with 4 different tabs, namely Data Models and Views, and Dashboards, Reports, and Favorites. So the first one being the Data Models and Views. This is the place, in fact, the repository for all the different pre-built templates, graphs, and charts which come out of the box. And as I drill down on these, open these folders, we can see everything which they come with. For example, on the account side, we have accounts payables, historical, accounts receivable, even finance part of it. And then for sales, we have sales history and all the different graphs and charts which come out of the box with these. So all of this that we are seeing until the data warehouse is in fact what is pulling the data in the real time directly from Sage 300. But on the other side, we have the data warehouse and also universal data model, which are both based on the OLAP Cube technology, which help users bring data from multiple data sources. So it could be a legacy data, it could also be the data coming from Sage 300 and from other third-party softwares, which can all be put together, combined together, and then have you access to the seamless reports, bringing them all together into the one place. So also, again, these comes with pre-built templates, worksheets, which are very much accessible. So now what I will do, I'll go into one of these worksheets and show you the different features they come with. So let me just go ahead in one of the worksheets, let's say a sales invoice analysis, and within that I'm opening actual versus last month. All right, as we log in, as we are entering this worksheet, now we can see the different elements within the worksheet. So just to give you a quick idea on how it is to read through these worksheets, they are simply based on the principle of groups, pivots, and columns. So whatever goes into these fields is exactly what is followed as a sequence in these groups. So for example, first of all, we are looking at the first field, which is the calendar period. As I drill down on this calendar period, then I should have the access to all my product static group code 1. And then further, if I drill down on any one of these, I further have the access to the next section, which will be a part of this report, which will be the product static group 2. If in case we have to add more dimensions and different fields into these reports, not a problem. The toolbar on the right-hand side of the screen here, it actually comes with the different options, and one of them is the dimensions and measures. This is a place which has all the pre-built KPIs which users can use from the day one as soon as they plug in this H300 data, and they are good to go by simply choosing the field that they would like to see and dragging and dropping them right into the sections here. So for example, I'm looking at rolling 3, let's say rolling 3 invoice amount, and I simply drag and drop this measure and bring that into my report. So right now, as we can see, rolling 3 invoice amount is very much a part of this report, and we have access to that data. The other functionalities of these reports is that you can also change the look and feel of these reports. So it comes with various themes. Let me just pick one of them. You can put the top totals row towards the bottom, or just simply get rid of them. That's completely up to the users. the choice. And then when it comes to more advanced features about how to filter on these reports, sort the data, conditionally format the data, I will show you each one of those quickly here. So let's say I want to just see the data for the first 5 months. I'll simply make the selections on the first 5 months, add them to my filter, and then it applies a filter on this report, and then now we can see the information for the first 5 periods. I can also do it this way. For example, I put my calendar period in the pivots, and then I can compare all these measures right here in terms of the periods here. So each individual column can now be put next to one another in terms of the periods, and we can compare them in this way as well. It's also very easy to get rid of some of the elements, simply hovering onto the section and clicking on the cross button, which removes that field from your report. And so it is very easy to slice and dice through these reports and drill down on these reports, filter through the data at the user's choices. So right now I've gone back to my groups, and then the filter that I applied appears right here at the bottom, which we can edit, lock, save it for the future reports as well, or simply get rid of it. It's also possible to add new dimensions such as organization. If I go into that, we have company ID, warehouse ID. In terms of time, we have calendar year, calendar quarter. So let me quickly go ahead and put the calendar year as well. And then we have the different calendar years. On other grounds, such as on the organization type, it's easy to consolidate the data. And since I have opened one of the worksheets from Universal Data Model, if I put my company ID into my group section here, then I can see both my companies here, Sam Inc. and Sam Limited. So with that, now I have the ability to drill down either on Sam Link or both of the Sam Link and Sam Limited, or simply even filter on one of these companies and view that data. But then there's also an option to consolidate the both companies together. And like we see here, these can also be consolidated within the same report. So another kind of integration, in fact, the features which come out of the box and which the users can play with on these reports is, let me just show you how easy it is to sort through the data as well. So let's say if my invoice margin, I would say, in fact, sorry, invoice amount here. I want to sort all my invoice amount in the descending order. So we go into the calendar period, which is the first section of the drill down we are looking at. And then I simply select the invoice amount for Sam Inc. and then select that as in a descending order, confirm. And the next time the worksheet reloads, now we can see for the Sam Inc. the invoice amount is all set in the descending order here. The conditional formatting is also a very useful tool. For example, invoice margin. If my invoice margin, let's just set a quick rule here. So I go into column formatting for this. So I can compare this amount either with a constant value, a global variable, or even another column within the worksheets. So I'll stick to the constant value for this example. And let's say if my invoice amount is, rolling 3 invoice amount, for example, is less than 2,000. Then we go into the icon, select one of these icons, and let's say, since it is a negative indicator, and then we can choose the red color for that. Click OK. All right, nothing happened. Since this is less than 2,000 and all right, I think I just have to make a quick change here. Let me just rather put it on invoice margin. I'm sorry. So if this is less than 2,000, I'll pick an icon. And there we go for invoice margin. I'm sorry, that was for the wrong entity. And here we have the invoice amount. For all the invoice amounts which are less than 2,000, I've now highlighted in the red. So right now we were just looking at the first of few rows because of the calendar period as our drill down option. But when we have millions of rows in our worksheets, it's very hard to track down on the data. So that's where this tool becomes very handy to highlight the information very clearly and then bring it to our attention right there. So once the users are happy with the look and feel of these reports, it's very easy to share these reports as well, which was also a very important part. So if I go into the sharing section, so we have the option to export this worksheet into multiple formats such as PDF, Excel, CSV, and so on. It's also possible to take a screenshot of this exact report and then create a remark on that. So if in this case something needs to be brought into the attention, then you can make your remark here, send it as an email to a team member, and the exact remark appears in the attachment, which sends out with the email. You can also download this as an image, which can then be included in the presentation slides to talk about in the team meetings. Another part which is also very, very useful is how users can subscribe to these reports and have them automatically sent out into their inbox or simply saved on their network drives. So that kind of integration is possible as well. So you simply give your description, choose the action, and then you can also select the different recipients for these reports, set in the email, which can also be customized for different languages. It can accommodate multiple languages such as English, French, Spanish, and so on. So here we see that in English, I could simply write hello, French, bonjour, and for Spanish, simply it could write hola. So for all the recipients who are intended for these languages will receive the message with these headings. And the last part is setting the schedule for these reports, such as you can set the schedule for receiving these reports only once on a daily basis, weekly. So which day of the weeks, it gives you all the different options to set the schedules. And then the users can simply sit back and then let the report do its work, SEI do its work, and send the reports according to the conditions set. Which brings me to another point, the more advanced version of Scheduler, which is also available in the back end, where users can also set the conditions to these worksheets as well and the reports. So in the condition sections, they can be a real life example could be inventory levels or the sales margins percentage, for example. If any one of these drop and then the attention has to be brought, then the conditions can be set in a way that every time that there is a drop in the amount or in the margin percentage, the report will be sent out to the decision makers. We also have now the consolidated report, which is very, very handy as a feature when it comes to financial reporting. I'll actually open up some of the financial reports just to show you the financial side of reporting as well. But just to show you, consolidated report section gives you the ability to make a package of multiple reports, which could be trial balance, cash flow statement, income statement, all of these put together in one document. Then you can add a cover page to this one, which comes with a text field where we can write down the cover page for the letter and then add the table of contents, add these different views, and simply again set the schedule, which will be the deciding factor on when the receiver will be receiving these reports. As I promised, I will now open one of the financial worksheets as well, just to show the financial side of it. So we have different pre-built worksheets for finance, accounts payable, accounts receivable, and also different sections right here as well. So let me just open one of these reports, an aging report, let's say for accounts receivable. So here we simply choose our filter. Let me just confirm this one. Okay, it needs to have a value. Just a moment. So I'll pick the year for which I believe we have the data here. Oops. So we don't actually have a data for this one. No worries. It completely depends on the data, the demo data that we have. But let me go into one of these sections here. Like, so you can see account summary, income statement details. So what I wanted to tell you here, I mentioned that it is possible to have the, the various finance worksheets as well, with different KPIs which come out of the box with these worksheets as well. Oops. So if in case there is any time a problem in terms of not fetching your data, which is clearly the case in my example that I'm trying to show, there's also a possibility to put the advanced filter on, and then you can change your filters right here in this advanced filter section as well. All right, looks like we do have some data here to show. Okay, so we are
It's
now looking
always
at
fun doing
the,
a live demo, isn't it?
it is always a fun. You never
But
expect
it's
to think then they actually happen.
there you go. But it shows how quickly you can switch over to another data set and start reporting. That's the
Exactly,
spin.
of course.
I'll let
And
you keep
right
going.
now, like I
Thanks.
mentioned, this is the demo data for me. It's always a bit harder for me to just maneuver through and navigate through it because it's a demo data. But then since the end users will be plugging the real-time data from directly from Sage 300, it will always, the worksheets will always have the data to show. And of course, not just the data, but the real-time information, which is entered in Sage 300. So for us in the demos, of course, it becomes a little bit more complicated. And with the multiple product lines, it's also hard to remember every year for every worksheet we open. But just so you know, I wanted to rather focus on the KPIs which are present within the financial side as well. So these are all the different KPIs which are available in the financial worksheets. I also wanted to highlight how easy it is to not just have access to these visuals, but also, the worksheet views that we have been looking at, but how easy it is to also transform these worksheets with just mere numbers into something more visual. So if I go into the toolbar back again, I have an option called view type. So once I click on that, now we are presented with over 100 different views which SCI has to offer to visualize the data, the exact worksheet we were looking at before. So these are all the pre-built view types we can use. So let's say if I select one of these, a vertical bar chart, now the exact worksheet we were looking at, these invoice analysis worksheet, actual versus last month here, this is now in fact transformed into more visual form. So which is giving us the clear trend of the invoice amount and the month-to-month growth percentage and invoice margin over the different periods. And just like the worksheets, it's also possible to drill down on these reports. So if I click on this, and now I have the access to all the different product stat groups for the period that I actually applied the filter on. Then these views can then be put together into something even more robust and solid, which is the dashboard section for SEI. So in the universal data models, in fact, these are also all the different dashboards which come out of the box with SCI. On top of that, we also have the universal data model, which comes with much broader range of dashboards which users can use from the day one of their SCI deployment. So let me just go ahead and open one of the dashboards. Let's focus on a financial side this time. So the great thing about these dashboards is that they can bring multiple views, one of them which we just created from a worksheet. They can bring those views all together and then put them together onto the same page, providing a full story of the business while presenting the data here. So just waiting it to load, and it's already coming up. Lots of data to show. So as you can see, we are looking at the various KPIs, performance, profitability, liquidity, everything that will be of really great importance for a CFO is included in this particular dashboard. So we have gross margin, operating income, and on towards the top, we have the various filters which we can use to filter on the data. So if I select fiscal period 3, apply this filter, we see the little gears moving, and then what it is doing, it is actually going back into the system, applying the filter on the fiscal period 3 and bringing that data back into this dashboard, which we can now see showing up eventually and gradually in this dashboard. And of course, these are the dashboards which come out of the box. Users have a very good starting point to start playing with the data, and then already pre-built KPIs give you a very good starting point on using these and analyzing your data from the day one. But that being said, users do have the ability to customize these dashboards as well. With the added dashboard option, they can change the look and feel of these dashboards. They can resize the individual views within these dashboards, and also if the need arises, they can always go back into their data models and views and simply drag and drop the new items here. So let's say an actual versus last month worksheet itself. I can simply drag and drop this worksheet and bring it into the dashboard, making it very much a part here. Then option like view type again helps me create a new view from this worksheet while remaining within the dashboard. So you can create new things on the fly while remaining on the same dashboard as well. So that's the power of these dashboards. Again, always important to mention here is that they always are pulling the data in the real time. They are dynamic and also customizable at the same time. When it comes to sharing part of these dashboards, it also remains exactly the same features. You can export these dashboards, you can take a printout of these, you can also save them as PDF, as an image, and include them in your presentation slides, even schedule the distribution of these dashboards, just like we saw in the case of the worksheets before. So that's about the dashboard section. I will also pull out a few more dashboards just to show you more features about these dashboards here. If I go into the sales section and let's say, in fact, I'm not in the dashboard section. So I open the sales folder and we open one of the dashboards for sales summarized. And I also open one of the other dashboards. So this dashboard that I'm opening up now is a sales summarized dashboard, which has the integration of the Google Maps within it. So once the users plug in the longitude and latitude information, then the information entered in this H300 can be linked to these Google Maps, and then the pin will drop at the exact same location, giving you the information about what is the company code for that location, located in that location, what is the invoice amount received from that location, and many more options like those. So just letting it do its work, and here it loads. So right now we are looking at some of the other views which have been put together in the sales summarized dashboard. So right now we are seeing how we can compare the year-to-year growth, the invoice amount, margin percentage, the quantity, the margin percentage from the last year, and then also the top 5 products by invoice amount. Yes, that's also very much possible to bring out the main key decision makers and KPIs for the business. What were the top 5 products? Who were the top 5 sales reps? What were the top 5 most profit making products which were sold for that particular period, or even for that particular year? So you can compare the years, periods, put them all together onto these dashboards and have a full story about the trend of the business. So I will actually go ahead and open one of the other dashboards here just to show you another functionality of how it's possible to even make the views within these dashboards talk to each other. I'm sorry, my system is a little bit too slow for today.
Everybody's on the internet checking out the storm forecast update.
Okay, right. There's a big one coming up today. That's true.
Yeah,
Oh yes, another
for
20
some of us
centimeters of
anyway. Yeah,
snow. Last time in Montreal, we actually had the biggest one. Actually, was 50 centimeters of snow. Oh God, it was really huge.
we'll hope for none of that today. Not too much anyway.
Yes, I hope too. Right, so I'm waiting for this dashboard to load. Unfortunately, I don't know for this is usually not the case, but my system is quite slow today. I don't know why. I will have to double check, but otherwise, just waiting for these dashboard to be loaded, and then because I wanted to show you something very specific here as a functionality of these dashboards.
While you're waiting for that to load, how do
Mm-hmm.
you you're probably going to talk about this throughout the presentation, but what's the key benefits when people move to a tool like this versus just doing reporting in Excel or in Crystal Reports or something like that, right? Because I mean, you can feed Excel, but this is more a complete
Mm-hmm.
BI tool that can also do budgeting and planning and some other features, right? So, what are some of those key
Certainly.
features you see people finding when they move over to something like this?
For sure. I mean, the SCI does come with, first of all, the multiple platforms just to start with, because right now we are looking at a web application, but then it's having said that, it's also available on your mobile devices. You can simply go into the app stores and download the app, and then you're good to go using this application even on your mobile devices. And then top of that, we also have the functionality with the Excel add-in, which is coming again as a complementary tool out of the box with the SCI. So these 3 different platforms, which are of course very, very useful and user friendly. Then comes the other part, that all the pre-built templates that are given to you, the users out of the box from the day one. So everything that we have been looking at here is something which you do not have to create on your own. This is something which you are getting out of the box from the day one. And then on top of that, we are also having the ability to change these worksheets according to our own taste. So it's very rare for users to actually go ahead and even build their reports, even though they can do so, but there hardly arises any need of doing so because there's so much which is actually provided out of the box
Okay,
on
great.
these
And
reports.
we
Mhm.
talked long enough. The dashboard's loaded in, so the internet's
Exactly.
sped up again. Although
Right.
that's way faster than running out that much data in a typical spreadsheet or a Crystal report.
Of course, and like I said, this is usually a blink in the blink of an eye. It usually comes up. I'm really sorry. I might actually simply go and, reload my SEI. Just give me a moment, please. It'll be much easier. It's going to take a couple of seconds. That's it. So I log in back again. And what I was mentioning here is that also with the UDMs, users get the ability to combine multiple data sources all together as well, which is also an added advantage of SEI. And also with the new data sync module, which we have come with, users can connect to multiple data sources. It could be Google Sheets, it could be your data on the cloud, it could be your data on premises, and everything can be put together using the data sync module, which also comes with the ETL functionality. And now, as we can see, it was much quicker than before. It just had to be reloaded. I mean, I just had to log out. It actually had a presentation just before this, so I didn't get a chance to log out. All right, so right now we're looking at this sales performance dashboard. So what I quickly wanted to show you is that these views even talk to each other. So if I make a selection one of these sections here, let's say a state of Washington, and I add this to my filter, and then as we can see the wheels moving. Now what it is doing, it is now applying the filter on all these views, and the information that we see in each one of these views now is only related to Washington. So because that's the state I actually applied the filter on. So yes, that's also a possibility, and that's also a very powerful feature where you just don't only get the access to these views put together, but then there's also an added functionality of making these views talk to each other at the same time. Right. So for that part, I wanted to just show you these dashboards. We have had a look at various dashboards, both from sales and finance side of it. And on top of that, universal data model for finance, sales, and CRM. These are all the different pre-built worksheets and templates which users get out of the box. And on top of that, the advanced features which come with finance are the fact that now users can even add the currency conversions as well. They can maintain their own currencies using the currency conversion module, and they can, with the report builder module here, what they can actually do is that they can classify and categorize the different accounts in their reportings. For example, expenses section in an income statement report could be now divided into 3 different types of expenses, such as other expenses, operational expenses, or overhead expenses. 3 of these can now be created using this section right here. And another one would be in terms of the data entry as well. So if I go into finance, you have the financial budget entries section here. And if I open this worksheet, so what's, of course, it doesn't have any data because the queue for this particular view info page, we have to extract the data from the Sage 300, which is not the case in this particular example. But what I wanted to highlight here is that everything that you see, the columns that we see here in the blue, are the columns which are capable and of data entry feature. So if I go into my worksheet properties, here we have the section called data entry. If I unselect it, as you can see now, since the data entry has been unselected, there's no possibility of doing the data entry, but once it is selected, it turns blue again, which tells the users that data entry is actually possible in these particular columns. And then once the data entry is done, it can also be pushed back into Sage 300, and then also comes with the autosave feature for these worksheets as well. And then, like I mentioned, that we have multiple web applications is what we have been looking at for so far. But then we also have the Excel add-in. For the Excel lovers out there, I would like to show you a few reports which were made using the Excel add-in section here. So some of the reports here I'm pulling out. And then these are all actually created using the Excel add-in section, which comes over 20 different tools which the users can use to create the worksheets on the Excel add-in as well. So we have data extraction, which extracts the data from Sage 300 in your database, and then it brings that into these worksheets. With the formula visit, we do not actually have to write down all the big formulas. So like, for example, if I click on this cell, we see a really big formula here, but not to worry, this is not a formula which somebody actually wrote. This has all been done with the help of the formula visit, which is a visit which you can simply select your field, your sum of operations, and then select the different filters you want to apply the data for. For example, fiscal year, it's easy, just as easy as going and selecting the field right here. For fiscal period, I click here and then it goes and selects maps to the fiscal period right there. So once that all is done, this filter formula wizard actually does its work and it pulls the data from the database without actually writing down all these complex and complicated formulas. It is also possible to, with the help of the duplicator tool, which is actually a very useful tool, we can create this copies of the same report, but spread across multiple periods. So let's say I choose my ledger fiscal period as an example here. I want this income statement report replicated over the 5 different periods. So here I highlight those periods, and then I can also mention where it should be pulling its data from. I'm sorry, here, just a quick moment here. This is the worksheet I wanted to work on. I'm sorry. And there we go. Oh, GL transactions. All right. But just to give you an idea that, okay. Okay, even the Excel add-in is a little bit acting up right now. But what I wanted to mention you here is that with the duplicator section, users can actually create the reports and spread them across multiple periods, multiple departments, and so on. With the formula drill down, it is also possible to drill down, just as in what we did in the web application, we were drilling down on the different reports. Similarly, we can actually do the formula drill down on this Excel add-in reports as well. Then users can also create the static copies of these reports and share with the teammates, go offline if in case they want to simply work on their the formatting of these reports, for example, and then once they have to do the extraction again or the data extraction refresh, they can simply come back online again after that. So yes, these are the different features which users get out of the box with the Excel add-in as well. We also have the reporting section, which is basically similar to what the dashboards are like. And here the users can simply drag and drop the reports from the data models and views the various worksheets, and then edit these, such as by editing, I mean to say that they can simply add a new logo onto these reports. They can add new calculated fields to these reports as well. So that all is actually possible in these with the help of the report section here. So something like this would be a template to show you, but then as I edit this report section here, you can see each section comes with its own little window, and then they can also be customized. With the reporting widget section here, you can actually drag and drop a customized calculation column and drop it right into these reports, and then start building your own formulas. For example, here, you simply choose what fields you would like to include, give it a format, and write down the script for the formula. So this is another advanced feature of creating the reports on the fly. Again, comes with various options to share these reports and then send them out and have a collaboration with the teammates. So yes, showing you the different parts and different abilities of SEI. This is mostly what I wanted to cover today in this presentation. Just not to forget that this is available in multiple platforms, including web application, mobile, and also the Excel add-in. All the pre-built templates which users have the access to from the day one, including the universal data models for sales, CRM, and finance, and also the increased performance and collaboration with the teammates.
All right. Well, I wanted to briefly go over some of the information on, because I promised we would compare kind of the two Sage Intelligence solutions for Sage 300. I have a couple of slides here I can show, and we can kind of go through it quickly if that's okay with you. Did you have anything
Sure.
else you wanted to show, Jasdeep?
I am good. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm going to take control here. Bear
Sure.
with me here 1 second. I think I can make me the presenter now, and I'm going to show my screen. So you see the comparison chart I have? You can see, can you, Jesse?
Right.
Right. So everybody knows there's a free user you get with your Sage 300 licensing, and it's called Sage Intelligence Reporting, and you get a report manager user. And what that is an Excel-based plugin, different than what Jasdeep has been showing. It's for people that are comfortable in Excel, and it's a great tool. Oh, I should also mention there's the old legacy financial reporter or FR tool that a lot of our clients still use to do their general financial reporting. And it has some drill down capability into Sage 300, but you can't really report on anything else. It has really no dashboarding capability. It's purely a financial reporting tool that plugs into Excel. So a number of years ago, Sage came out with a product called Sage Intelligence. They actually bought a company who had developed this over many years that worked with many Sage products. And it can do the same kind of financial reporting, but it can also report on subledgers like accounts payable, accounts receivable, inventory, order entry, purchasing, any ODBC or open database connectivity type database. It could pull data in from another Excel sheet or from an Access database, whatever you've got. And then it comes with about 70 to 80, I can't remember the last count, predefined reports, which you can use and modify, make a copy of and modify to fit your needs, or have somebody like DNA's technicians come do that. And build your own reports. You can schedule them to run out with Windows. So it's a nice tool, and a lot of our clients have taken that on. But a couple of things that you'll notice different from that and what Jasdeep was showing today is both the old FR tool and the Sage Intelligence tool only run in Excel. Their output can be Excel, could be PDF, could be HTML file that you can look at as kind of a dashboard in Sage Intelligence. But really, it's an Excel reporting tool. So it can do, like I said, you can slice and dice and filter your data. There's some capability to do that, but it doesn't have a web user interface. It doesn't have a mobile app. One of the biggest things we've found recently, as you see here, it doesn't do budgeting and forecasting with write back. So that's a big plus for the Sage Enterprise Intelligence tool that Jasdeep has been showing today. It also, as I mentioned, the web interface, Jasdeep mentioned that there's an app you can download so you can get, KPIs, or your executives can get information on the fly. You need to, if you're not a person who's comfortable in Excel, or you're looking for a different interface, or some of your staff are, Sage Enterprise Intelligence is probably an easier tool to learn and use. Would you not agree, Jasdeep?
For sure,
Yeah.
definitely. Because
If
all the benefits that we users get, definitely it is.
yeah, in Sage Intelligence, it's only Excel user interface. So if people aren't comfortable with that, they could run out reports and see the data, but they might not, if they're not purely accounting and Excel-based experts, they might have a little bit of trouble with it. So that's another place where we see Sage Intelligence, Enterprise Intelligence, more of a better option for BI, for our clients. Um, and the training for at least the everyday end user is probably a lot easier. Still on the back end, if you're going to have somebody in your organization who's going to become basically the keeper of your business intelligence reporting, there's going to be some training for them to learn to do some of the stuff that Jasdeep was showing today, and as well as creating custom reports or changing reports in Sage Intelligence. So it's somewhat common there. Jasdeep, I think you mentioned the searching capability is pretty strong. Little harder than just trying to search in Excel. You've got
For
a lot
sure.
more capabilities there.
Hmm.
Um, the sharing is probably easier in Sage Intelligence from my experience because of the built-in report scheduler that end users can do, whereas with Sage Intelligence, you're probably setting it a schedule and then it has to run out. And that's pretty much the end user doing that. I mean, you can just go in and email a report, but if you're scheduling, we've found that Sage Enterprise Intelligence, if you're doing a lot of that, it's probably easier. As I, again, mentioned, no mobility really, unless you're remoting into your desktop and running the Excel report. The minimum training, the pricing's a little different, but the benefits we think for a lot of clients more recently have been pretty big. You basically get one free user of Sage Intelligence Report Manager user with your Sage 300. You can add more. They're about $650 a year on subscription, or $130 a month for the viewer users. And the difference is the manager users create and modify reports and run schedules. The viewer users just have some runtime options to run out the reports in Sage Intelligence. With Sage Enterprise Intelligence, you can start from as little as between $1,000 and $1,500, I think, Jasdeep. And then if you want to go with
Hmm.
the full feature and a couple of users, it's about a little over $3,000. And then then after that, users are somewhat the same, kind of pricing. The viewer users are a little bit more, but they have more capability, and both of them
Right.
do require some setup and training. But as I said, once the system is set up, I think end users who may be digesting this information in many of the ways that Jasdeep just showed us, they're really going to be easily able to go in and find their data that they've been presented with and run out the reports, especially on things like the app. Would you not agree, Jasdeep?
I completely agree with everything that you have mentioned, and also with the component description which you gave a quick example of. The other thing which is important to note that is that users can also plug in multiple data sources, and that's now an ability which they get again out of the box. So it is something which is given without any extra cost. So users can actually combine multiple data sources,
Ah,
uh, right, at the same time.
excellent. You know what? I probably didn't have them in the list. I'll probably have to update my chart here. I forgot about that
Mhm.
because on Sage Intelligence, you need to buy the connector module, and then
I
someone's got
see.
to connect that data source. So again, thank you. I'll update my list. This is a bit of an older document, and I've tried to update it over time a little bit, but
It's also because the version 9, with the version 9 release, we have recently come with the new component description. So we will share that with you. We'll no, don't worry.
yeah, no, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're pretty much at the end of time here. There's a couple of questions. Um, but I think I kind of answered them with the rough pricing. Of course, you need to just talk to Micah and I, and we'll scope out the differences in the costing with you. There was some questions about the app, and I answered that there is an app in Sage Intelligence, not in Sage Enterprise Intelligence, not in Sage Intelligence. Yes, let me just go see. Yes, the web interface is part of Sage Enterprise Intelligence, not really available in Sage Intelligence, although you can run out reports and maybe send them or FTP them somewhere where somebody can log in securely, but it's really not that secure. You have a law. I think that's the other thing I don't have on here. The security of limiting who can access what data when, I think is a lot stronger in Sage Enterprise Intelligence. Would you not agree,
We have a
Steve?
whole full-fledged security background in which users can actually manage the users and even the deepest level of data information. For example, opens the report. For example, a sales manager might be able to have the access to all the sales margins of all the sales reps, whereas an individual sales reps, when they log in and open their worksheet, they might only have the access to their own margins and could not see the margins set by the other sales reps. So that kind of level of security is possible through these worksheets.
Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you. Yes, and that's probably a key question that's come up before with some of our clients on why they wanted to do it, because you can do that to some level in Sage Intelligence, but it's a lot of effort. Whereas it's just the way the tool functions and the way that you manage the data. It's I think easier and more robust to make sure that certain people don't see that data. If somebody forgets to do something, they're not going to see that data. So I will share this chart. We'll update the web page, and we'll send out the recording to the meeting. And this information so everybody can have it. I may just confer with you, Jasdeep, just to make sure I've got everything on my chart. And I do really appreciate your time. It is currently 1 o'clock. So without any more questions, I think we answered all of them here. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. And as I said, we'll be sending this out shortly. And Jasdeep, thank you so much for walking us through that. I know live demonstrations can be scary at times, but you did a great job. You sometimes on your demo database rerunning, but I tell you, that Sage Enterprise Intelligence is very strong. So if you have
For
an
sure.
interest, give us a ring and we can walk you through it with Jasdeep and the team. All
I'll be
right?
happy to do a individualized demo as well, depending on the
Absolutely.
needs of the users for sure. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much for for giving us this opportunity for presenting SCI, Will. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for joining us.
Okay, and we'll be in touch. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.